Okay, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me here today. My name is Sean Richards. I'm one of the co-founders and directors of Schoolbox and the company Alaris that develops this product. Today, we're going to be going through a short introduction to the company Alaris and share some information about where we've come from, along with some information around what Schoolbox is, what it stands for, and what kind of functionality is included in the platform. And then I'm going to jump right into the system and start walking you through a range of the features that are included. Now, Schoolbox itself was created back in 2002 at Melbourne Grammar School when the school sort of went out to market, tried to seek out what solutions might have been a good fit for their requirements. Didn't really find anything at the time, and thus the product was born. And Schoolbox is very unique in that it is a complete virtual learning environment that is an all-in-one learning management system, a portal, and an intranet. Most of the other solutions that we see around the world, specifically niche to either an intranet solution like SharePoint or a learning management solution like some of the big tertiary-based LMSs that are available. And what really makes Schoolbox unique in that sense is that not only are we combining all of these three core areas, these core systems into one that are so relevant to schools, but that the system's been designed specifically for K-12 schools, whereas a lot of those other solutions have been born out of other vertical markets like tertiary or government or the commercial space. The Schoolbox itself has been designed and continues to be designed specifically for K-12 schools. So that means all of our roadmap, our entire customer base, all the functionality that we scope and deliver and continue to seek feedback from our user base is all driven around those requirements for teachers and schools. The system is also both self and cloud hosted. So you can host the system on site, and we also offer that ability to host in the cloud. And our system provides a live integration with many existing student management systems. So straight out of the box, we have support for Synergetic, TAS, Edumate, Denby, School Pro. There's a whole fleet of those that we support, Maze, and so forth. And we're currently supporting a large and growing user base where we've already hit well over 100,000 users now. And the system's completely designed, built, and maintained from our Melbourne-based offices. And this particular screen is really bringing together those three core sets of requirements that the system represents. So the learning management system, the portal, and the intranet. And so Schoolbox itself, when you're looking at where it fits into that ecosystem of solutions at the school, we're not a school management or a student management system. We're really built on the premise of delivering tools that help and enhance communication, collaboration, and learning management across the school. So Schoolbox is really that one place for all the information that's moving around the school for extracurricular groups, sporting teams, houses, library pages, virtual classroom pages, faculty resources, curriculum, everything like that, all living in this one centralized platform for everyone to access online. And the system's completely web-based, so you can access it from any device. It doesn't matter whether you're currently on a one-to-one program and moving to a BYOD, or whether you're sort of like starting that journey, or whether you are full BYOD. That transition and those methodologies are all going to be supported, and any transition between them will be seamless on our platform. And we really deliver a very broad set of features and functionality across the platform. And we sort of see each of those features falling into one of these 6 categories. So lots of tools to enhance communication, facilitate collaboration, teaching and learning, tools for creating beautiful looking, rich content and multimedia, managing all that information, all of those users, all of those permissions, and also a deep level of integration with all of those existing school systems and platforms. And whilst this is a very large list, of sort of features. As we see an ocean of features, it is a very wide feature set, and we also go quite deep within these features. So just looking at something like a quiz or an inline grader, there's a huge amount of functionality just within each of these points. We've got a growing customer base across Australia and New Zealand. We're now supporting 49 schools. This is a little bit out of date, with a few more in New Zealand, in Queensland, across all the other states in Australia, and as I mentioned, growing quickly. So we've been very fortunate enough to bring on some of the elite schools in the country who have been supporting this system, and now we're really sort of being able to provide that platform to the whole of the Australian and New Zealand education base. And there's a lot of terms thrown around the education technology space. Some are a little cliche, but things like flipped classrooms, learning analytics, blended and hybrid learning, formative and continuous reporting and formative assessment data, lots of different types of multimedia, online submissions, notifications. But the reality is that a lot of these concepts have had a profound impact on teaching and learning, and the use of technology inside our education system, inside the classroom, is really driving a huge amount of change, and Schoolbox is supporting all of that. So without further ado, I will jump straight into the system. Now, the first thing that we do is we log into Schoolbox, and straight out of the box, we've got support for integration with your existing authentication systems like LDAP through Active Directory, and support for pure single sign-on through what's known as the SAML protocol. The whole system's also brandable and skinnable. So even that login screen is all going to be able to be branded to look and feel just like your school's branding. And when we log in, we're presented with these dashboards. And these dashboards can be configured for all the different roles that exist in your school. So we can have roles for, typically we see roles for things like teachers, non-teaching staff, administrators, different year levels of students, so year 10 students, year 9 students, year 3 students, parents, guest accounts. There's some other options there, but basically for each of these roles, we're able to customize the system and permissions to what each of these types of users see. So right now I'm logged in as an administrator, and I can see an image slider here, some different tiles, specific news posts that have been granted to be visible to the administrators. But if I now log in as a teacher, which I'll just do quickly, we'll be able to see that content actually changes as we take on that new user. So now, as a teacher, I'm able to see different links, different sidebar menu items, different news posts and calendar events that are now relevant to me. And all these dashboard layouts and content can all change to be specific and relevant to me. So these dashboards are highly configurable, and you can put any kind of content in here. So here we can see some icons with some like a grid-based layout. We've got a principal's message, but these are just HTML content that you can actually edit, and you can put any kind of content you want. It could be video. We've even got components for things like Twitter feeds, RSS. Here we can see upcoming calendar events. So as a teacher, this is my landing page to get all the information to start my day. So I can also see my timetable here, and this is going to be drawing that enrollment data from your timetabled classes directly and live from your student information system. For certain student information systems, we also support the ability to mark attendance and feed that data directly back into that system through a two-way integration. And all of these All of these profile photos and all of this information is all being driven out of the student information system too. So as a student or as a teacher, straight away I've got access to see all of my subjects. We've got support for class types coming out of the student information system too. And I can quickly click on these home pages to access those virtual class pages. I can also very quickly do a search and find people, news posts, forum posts, pretty much anything I need to in the system. And as a teacher, this is a great way to quickly access those vital student data fields and things like medical alerts, special need flags, parent contact information, and emergency contact information. The parents and the students can also see this information with optional settings. But as a teacher, tools like being able to email all that students' teachers in one click can really be a helping hand. Schoolbox has a full school news management system. So this is customizable, so you can set this up with different categories, and you can even assign based on you want all staff to be able to publish school news, or whether you just want to limit that to just 1 or 2 individuals in the actual marketing or communications area in the school. So here we can enter content, headline, we can attach files, drag and drop support throughout the system. And we can also see here targeting the specific types of users that we want to see this particular news post. And this is built off both roles and campus level. So I can target junior school parents, or I might want all parents, or I might want everyone, or just teachers. So there's a lot of flexibility here. That same flexibility flows into the calendar. Schoolbox has a very rich calendar system that will really centralize all of the events and all that event management into one cohesive interface. It's a complete e-diary solution and supports both campus and role-based event creation, but also the ability to deliver events specific to groups created within Schoolbox. And within Schoolbox, you can create a group for almost anything you can think of, whether it's a sporting team, an extracurricular group, a student collaborative group, a staff committee, or the actual class pages that are generated automatically through your student information system. We've also got the ability to overlay the timetable. So any of those timetabled classes that are coming through from your SIS are also going to be visible on your calendar as timetabled classes. We also have a fully integrated resource booking system that can allow for moderation of resources across the school. For example, booking a room, and it will even check if those rooms have classes already in them. You can set up related bookings, and everything can be flying off real-time notifications to those users. As a student, this is also going to allow you to create your own events and tasks. And the whole system is just like Google Calendar. And in fact, we can bring in existing iCal feeds from those external sources like Google Calendar and Microsoft Exchange and overlay them on a role and campus level. But you can also click to add an event or a task. And as a teacher, this is a great tool because you can, let's say you're the sport teacher or a music lesson teacher, you can come into a student's calendar, search for a student, view their calendar, and add a lesson or add a note to their calendar. That will pop up real-time notifications back to them and their parents based on their notification settings. And as a student, all that LMS information regarding those assessments and quizzes that have been created by my class teachers, that's all visible here in this same view. So this is an extremely powerful school calendar solution. And of course, we've got the ability to subscribe to all of that data on your other devices via iCal. So you can quickly generate a URL and pop that into your phone or your tablet client to view that information. We've even got a full school calendar here, timetable here for your classes, and you can even browse for other teachers to see what timetables and what classes they have on, and you can click in and even access, optionally, access their class homepages. Now within Schoolbox, you can create homepages for almost anything, and it's a really critical part of our system. It's going to allow you to democratize the management of pages throughout your platform. So in this case, we might have a library page, and the actual librarians are the ones that are managing this space. But you could create pages for anything. It could be a forms and policies page. It could be a staff directory. It could be a parent homepage, a student counselor's page, a house or a sporting team. There's really no end to how creative you can be with these spaces. And one of the best ways to describe these homepages is using the class homepage. And what makes the class homepage a little bit different is that it has a class code. And what the class code does is it actually automatically links the teachers and the students through your student information system data to this particular homepage. So that all happens seamlessly and automatically. And here we've got things like special need and medical flags. And again, we can click through into those student profiles. We might want to just email selected students or email their selected parents. Each homepage also has statistics, so we can quickly see who's been accessing our class page, who hasn't been accessing our page, how many parents have been accessing it, etc. And these class homepages are very flexible spaces, and there's loads of different components that you have available to use. And the way that we like to describe them is like a virtual whiteboard. So when you actually start the year, you get a blank class page, and you use the tools and the pre-developed content and curriculum resources that we can develop and store within Schoolbox to quickly populate our page, share those resources down to our students, and use these spaces to communicate and collaborate with our students around our class content. So we've got things like news, text boxes. We've got it like a social stream that's like an Edmodo or a Facebook style wall. And all of these components optionally have other settings. So in this case, I could disable the ability for students to post content through collaboration or leave that enabled. We can set up collaborative group homepages, assign homework, create quizzes. We've even got an inbuilt video management system allowing our users and teachers and students to take videos on their other devices like phones and tablets and push them straight up into the system, fully enabling a total flipped classroom approach. There's lots of embedded media type support, things like Google Maps, SlideShare, YouTube videos, Twitter feeds, image galleries, files, and all of these components, most of them are supporting drag and drop where files are related. So we can quickly just drop files in there for that to instantly be uploaded into the system. All of these components are all drag and drop as well, so we can quickly pick them up and move them around to best design our interface for our class. I can flick to see the student's view, but basically it's just going to remove most of the power controls that the teacher gets. So we've pretty much got a standard, it's almost identical for the student to see, but there is the option there for the teacher to check. And when we click this little plus button at the top, we're able to see all of the available components that we can use on our class page. So you can see the sheer number of these here: news, calendars, text boxes, blogs, countdowns, our new tile component. Lots of collaborative tools for forums and polls and online chat, social stream, even our own collaborative docs component. Learning management-based tools for course building, importing courses, designing quizzes, posting homework and assessments. Lots of different multimedia support for things like audio or video, and simply clicking these is simply going to add them to the page. We can then reposition them and start using them right away. We can also customize the look of the page. So here we can set up the different color schemes and change the look and feel of the page to fit with our particular style. And with things like audio transcoding just built into the system, you just don't have to worry. You can simply drag and drop, and our system will just handle all of the transcoding of those videos, audio, and any other kind of files ready for playback by your students. As you're posting homework and assessments into your class pages, you're also going to have those flowing through into this submissions list. So this is going to give you an overall view as a teacher of all the assessments across your classes. And we can see here how many students have submitted for this particular assessment, how many I've graded, what visibility the marks settings have. And I can even track progress across those. With a full class mark sheet, I can see all of the grades that have been returned to those students, along with their current grade averages across that subject, and also the class averages for each assessment. With support for things like mark weighting and mark visibility, you'll be able to have fine-grained control of these kinds of normalized values. And clicking into this mark sheet, I can see that student's current grade average for that subject, and I can see how they're trending across time against those assessments, and also mapped optionally against the class average. If we've had any rubric criteria, I've obviously got a spelling mistake there, used on any of the units or assessment items across that topic and class, that's also going to provide a longitudinal assessment and normalized grade average across that particular criteria for this class. And as a teacher, I need to be able to grade all of these assessments. So when I come in to see this particular assessment, I can see what grades those students have, who's submitted on time, late, resubmitted, and I can quickly provide comments and feedback to those students very quickly through the browser, and that's instantly returned to them and their parents based on all those settings. Of course, when I set up this due work item, I'm also able to provide a range of different information and set up the assessments the way I teach. So I can optionally attach files, I can set what kind of homework this is, and I've got different types of grading systems available, things like percentage, letter grade, total mark, and rubrics. Of course, within letter grade, we've even got the ability to set up your own custom grading scales. If I did want to use rubrics, if this particular assessment item was part of a course or a unit, I would be inheriting those criteria pre-templated, but I can also then specify my own descriptors on a per assessment item level along with the point scale, or use the default result sets. If I tick accepting online submissions, this is going to allow students to upload any kind of files based on what's been configured in the admin system. So we're really flexible here. We're going to be able to accept files like videos, audio, photos, uploaded files like Excel files or any kind of content. They can even submit HTML or just plain text content through Schoolbox. And we've even got the ability to mount our assessments into WebDAV, allowing students to submit documents via apps in iOS through WebDAV. So they can submit documents that have been created in apps like Pages or Numbers directly into this homework item. We can also accept resubmits through multiple submissions. And of course, with our inbuilt plagiarism checker, that's going to allow the students to get a score based on how much they've plagiarized and then resubmit. And as a teacher, it's really important that the workflow of receiving that work and grading it online is as seamless as possible. And that's where our inline grader comes in handy when selling this as a workflow to your teachers, because those traditional methods of having to download files and open them in Word, annotate them and re-upload them into a system have been are long gone. And now what we have is the ability to view those students' submissions in the browser, attach comments and highlight areas inline along with those marks and feedback. We're also in the process of about to release attachments here. And when we hit save and continue, that instantly saves all of those changes, packages it up into a PDF, and allows the students to view that all online as well. And given that this particular submission is almost Shakespeare verbatim, we can see here that our plagiarism score is picked up on that 93%. And that's, of course, scanning the whole web as well as all of the other submissions in your school and class. And whilst the student only gets the score, the teachers do have a full breakdown, fully integrated workflow to check what sources have been plagiarized and from where on the internet. And all of this feedback and all of these comments and submissions and returned work, that's all going to be tracked and be visible for the parents and the students to go back and see at any point in time. And if there was any rubric criteria that this particular assessment was being graded against, that would also be displayed here underneath this due work detail page. So marking rubrics as well is very straightforward. We're simply going to be, from the mark sheet, selecting which criteria we're wanting to grade against. And all of that information is visible to the student and parent, allowing them to see what criteria they are being graded against there. Schoolbox also has the ability to mount existing network drives. So what this allows is if you've got those existing network shares or home drives, your users can now access those files and folders directly from within Schoolbox. And with the addition of Google Drive integration and soon Office 365, it's really going to make it pretty easy to get that information into the system. Okay. So part of using these class pages is understanding how to populate them. And if we look at what might be a blank class page, at the start of the year, a page may look just very, very simple. And this comes down to policy settings that we can set at the start of the year to say what our minimum use is for our teachers getting started. So it may be as simple as uploading some files and posting major news posts. Of course, your teachers have access to all those other components if they choose to use them. But one of the things that we wanted to do is make it so that teachers could use existing resources as easy as possible. And under our resources tab, our schools that use our system have sort of defined a way that we think works very well. Now, of course, this is just an example. You can destroy all of this structure and set up your own. But one of the ways that we've seen this work well is the setup of the department area. Now, of course, all of this is drag and drop, but we've seen these departments set up within our school structures so that for each subject and within each year level, we've then seen home pages created for specific topics or units of work. So where the Year 12 folder would be the course outline page, and we could template rubric criteria and information about that on that page. We then see these different unit home pages set up for individual topics. And where you would have traditionally just had some files and some handouts or images, maybe a video, if you were lucky, for those topics. What we've now been able to do is extend those file systems with rich multimedia embedded content using our home pages. So this would be a topic homepage for macroscopic properties of matter, and we can see here that we can start to centralize all of those resources that our students are going to need access to when they come to study this particular unit of work. It might be a wiki, it could just be some links, it could be a Twitter feed, Khan Academy videos, any kind of content you can think of. And what we're then able to do is template tasks and assessments that are relevant to this particular topic. So whilst you've still got the option to do freeform teaching and just assign homework and quizzes on your class page, what this allows us to do is really template those tasks and assessments for reusability. So here we can see that we've got some tasks like watch a video, post to the class page forum thread, but we can also add homework items and quizzes and template them up here. Now, these non-accessible tasks do have the option of being self-accessible by the students, allowing them to tick themselves off as they progress through that topic. So the concept here is that we're storing the curriculum resources up at the faculty level, not just the files and folders, but also all of this other more rich and modern content, text boxes, images, videos, everything that's going to be relevant to teaching that topic. We're templating the tasks and assessments and the rubric criteria that we'll be grading against. Again, a great use of these course and unit pages is the ability to template that criteria at both the course and unit level. And once we've done that, we've then got the options of using those courses on our page. So of course, we can still just go ahead and add a social stream if we want and start using that and change our page so that we're just sharing some odd resources here or there. So it might just be on the fly. We might want to include an image and post that to our page and share information like this in a more ad hoc fashion. And that's perfectly fine and will work great. But we can also provide this extra structure. So one of the beautiful things about the course builder and course outline is that where we would have traditionally had to create individual due work items on each class page, now we can use those templates. So here we can see the course outline. It says import a course to our page along with its tasks, assessments, and rubrics. So let's go and add this. And then we're going to select a course to import. And this will allow us to browse to our selected course. And of course, that's going to detect those different topic homepages. Now, when I import these, I can decide to run them in parallel, or I may want to stagger some of them and have only certain ones accessible after others have been completed. I don't have to include all of them. I can import just the ones I want. And this import, what this does is it's doing two main things. Firstly, it's providing links for my students to then access those topic homepages so they can click and see that information, access those resources. You may even have things like a collaborative forum that's used across 4 different classes referencing the same course page. So these are they're links to these pages. There's only one page, and making changes to these pages will then allow all classes that are referencing them to see that change and access that changed material. But it's also taking a copy of the tasks and assessments that were templated at that unit page and bringing them down to my class page. So I can then customize and tailor those tasks and assessments relevant to my specific class. I might want to delete a particular task. I might wish to create a new quiz or question, set a new task, or even update the mark type on a particular assessment. And as the students are receiving all their notifications saying that they've now got these tasks assigned, as they self-assess themselves through those non-assessable tasks, they can be marking that off. And as a teacher, you get this progress report to see who's done what. And you're also going to be seeing that full class mark sheet so you can see as those assessments come in, and you can perform all of that grading and returning that work online. So the course outline is a very powerful component. So what I might do is I might just check if we've got any questions that have popped up since I started. No, it doesn't appear there are any yet. I'll just provide a short minute for anyone to ask any questions, and I can answer them for you while I'm online. In the meantime, what I might do is jump in and show you a little bit about our notification system. The notification system is a really important part of Schoolbox. It was a major piece of functionality that was developed in version 14. And what it does is it picks up on messages that are being triggered through different actions in the system. So you can see here, I don't have any current ones for this particular user. But the way it's designed is that each user, each parent, each student, each teacher, they all have their own message settings. So they can customize how they're notified when things happen in the system. So let's say a student resubmits work, we could optionally receive an email when that happens. Or it could be that someone comments after a blog post that you wrote. We can optionally disable certain messages, enable others. But you might see that in some cases, like here, this notification setting is not available. It's actually been blocked for me as a user. And this is because at an administrator level, you as a school are able to define your own message settings. Now, it's a really powerful feature. It includes also an email digest that can automatically be packaged up to include all unread messages for that particular role since they last logged in. So we might want to send teachers at 4 a.m. on a Friday any messages that they haven't read since they last logged in that week. And for all of these messages, we have a range of settings that allow us to control at a school level which messages are enabled and how and what options those users will have. So let's take a parent, for example. We can filter by parent and say, due work. Send a message when your child has outstanding work that's overdue. Now we can optionally disable this particular message, or we can enable it, and then we can control what we want the default to be, and also set what options will be available for our parents to select from. So it might be that we want to force an email to be sent, and we can do that. Or we might want to provide them those options so that they can select to disable that message or just receive it in different ways. Another great use of this is obviously school news. And this is going to default to a digest and allowing parents to instantly receive those emails via that branded email digest once a week or whenever, however frequently, but also package up all those other activity and messages that they might not have seen since they last logged in. Really cool feature. Of course, the whole system is very customizable. Here we can see on our dashboards, it's simple drag and drop to set these up, and we can have different layouts for all of our different roles in the school. Okay, so I'm going to jump back, see if we've got any questions yet. No, none at this point. So just so that we're all aware, of course, there's also full drag and drop support. Oh, I just might jump back into this other system. We've got full drag and drop support in the resource tree as well. So all of this is, going to be pretty straightforward to push our files up into the system. In terms of content migration and strategy for that, for new schools onboarding, we've got lots of different options there, ranging from custom content migration projects right through to the ability to simply upload zip files into this that will preserve file structure, uploading multiple files, and even just being able to transfer large archives onto the server and for us to bulk extract that for you. So there's loads of options to help you with setting that up. Of course, there's huge amounts of the system that I might not have shown you yet. For example, as a teacher, you can also view any student's due work calendar. This due work calendar is a great interface for students, parents, and teachers to use to see all of the assessments that have been assigned for a particular student across all of their subjects. And this is going to be feeding in all those grade averages. Unfortunately, I don't have a huge amount of data here, but if you had those continuous grade averages coming through, they'll all be visible here and clickable into those grade report cards. So students can obviously use this to start submitting their work, setting those quizzes, and so forth. Teachers can use it to plan workload, and parents to see an overall view of what their students have set. That might segue me into actually logging in as a parent to give you a bit of an overview of what the parent portal and how that works. One of the good things about being an administrator is the ability to assume another user's identity, something that our super users use fairly often. Okay. So I've now logged in as a parent, and you might notice that the system's changed a little bit. I can now see different information and content. It's just an example of the kinds of ways that we can actually change that information. They're going to see different access to sidebar links that can be set up specifically for them, and access to different home pages and files and folders that you've created for them. Now, obviously, our real life school examples have a huge amount of information that they've migrated in for parents, things like sporting pages, sport fixtures, outdoor activities, extracurricular, parent body home pages, files and folders for policy documents, also parent home pages. And one of the really great things is we've seen schools set up pages for different areas of the school. So in the senior school, they might have a home page that's specific to a year level, and the year level coordinator uses that to just post news specific to those particular year levels. We will have some videos up shortly of some showcases of some of our other schools, so you can actually see some of those kinds of best practices. Of course, I can see school news and events that have been made visible to parents. And I've also got a direct link here to my specific students. So with quick links to those due work calendars, those continuous grade report cards, their e-portfolios, their calendars for that whole e-diary experience, and timetables. And again, a number of our schools have things like what we call cluster pages. And I think I'll be running a parent portal webinar over the next couple of days that you'll be able to check out. And I'll put a link into this, just into the description on this video once that is live. But we set up cluster pages that allow parents to see a link to things like younger year level home pages, where in a junior school setting where you might have year 1 and year 2 students, there's no need for curriculum, or well, not necessarily curriculum, but the course builder or anything like that. So the actual class pages are used by the year level coordinators to really just share photos and videos, post weekly updates and reflections on what's happening in the classroom. And they can be linked through to these profiles. So as a parent, when you log in, you instantly see a link to those cluster pages and click on those to access them. Of course, all those relationships, all that timetable data, It's all coming through live from your student information system. Medical alerts, all that parent contact information. There's a lot of policy settings in the system that allow you to set up that parent portal specifically to how you want it to work. Parents can have access to their own home pages even, where you might have a parent association where they're using that system themselves. There are change password facilities that will allow parents to reset their passwords. And we've even got the ability to search for other parent contact details based on flags in your student information system, whether or not those details will be available for searching by other parents, with optional limits on their year levels, things like that. So again, what I might do now is jump over to the Q&A. I'll give you all a minute or two if you'd like to post any questions. Otherwise, I'll probably finish things up now. If you do have any questions post this webinar, please feel free to post them into our online community. The online community is active and available at support.alaris.com.au, and you'll be able to access that help center through that URL. So over to you guys if you'd like me to help answer any questions. Okay. Well, look, thank you all very much for attending this webinar today. It's been a pleasure to show you through the system. There is obviously a lot more than what I have shown you here today, but it is a good introductory presentation. Hopefully you've got some value out of it. It might have sparked some questions that you can come back to us with outside of this, and we look forward to speaking with you all again in the not too distant future. Thank you very much.